Thank you for tuning in to The Artistry. I am your host, Lonita Cook, and this is the show where we celebrate art activism. Art activism is defined as the doctrine and practice of vigorous action as a means of achieving artistic goals in such a way that the community of the activist is both elevated and inspired. My, do we have a treat for you. Today, I'm speaking with Meagan Flynn, Kansas City director, screenwriter, Regional EMMY award-winning producer, and actor extraordinaire. Her work is extensive and includes everything from the fun comedic short Playdate about two women trying to find the best play date for their boys to a speaking role in the Oscar-nominated George Clooney film, Up in the Air. An A-list Kansas City entertainer, Meagan is also an award-deserving wife, mother, and friend. She balances the demands of family life with career and her commitment to her community. She is an art activist. Please welcome our guest, Meagan Flynn. Thank you so much, Meagan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Okay, and so before we get started into your accomplishments in film and what you're doing and what you've done, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your upbringing, where you come from, and you grew up on a cattle ranch?
I did. I grew up on a cattle ranch. It's all very idyllic Americana. I actually grew up on a cattle ranch in southwestern Montana. Town of about 2,000 people, out in the country, very cowboys and Indians, wildlife. If you've ever seen Robert Redford's The Horse Whisperer, that's exactly the childhood that I grew up with. So, yeah,
awesome.
Kind of a dream childhood.
Cute guys too.
Well, cowboys, which I don't know if that's really my thing, but lots of the cowboys.
And so, when you were younger, did you know that you wanted to be an entertainer, actor, writer?
I did. I started doing theater. I laugh. I tell everybody the story that I think it was kindergarten, and we were doing a nativity play, because that was, back when you could do that sort of thing in public school. And the gal that got cast as Mary, I was insanely jealous, and I was cast as a silent shepherd. And my mother told me that I was very jealous and very upset because I knew that I could do Mary's part better than Mary, and my family always joked that that was when they knew I was interested in going into acting. And I did theater. I mean, there's not really a huge film industry in Montana, but I did theater all the way through high school, and local commercials, that sort of thing.
So were the expectations different for you, or did your family embrace your desire to pursue theater professionally? They were really supportive. I know they were kind of hoping I would have a backup in business or journalism, or I think it was more that it was there just wasn't a lot of outlets for that where I grew up, so it's not that they weren't supportive, they kind of just didn't know where to channel that either. But I actually have a very creative family. My father was an attorney, but he actually is a published novelist as well. Oh, excellent.
And my grandmother was a writer, and so there actually is a streak of artistry in my family. Yeah, a little bit of creativity in there, but yeah, it was kind of hard for them to find places for me to channel that, because there's just not a lot of opportunities in southwestern Montana. And
so after high school, did you go directly to college from there?
I did. I left home at 17. I actually never lived at home again. I kind of wanted to experience other places.
The world.
I know, the world. I did. I think it broke my mother's heart. I never even came home for summer vacation or anything, because I just really wanted to be, you're 17, you think you know everything.
So you were kind of more of a bigger city girl in a small town? Is that how you felt?
I was. I don't think I appreciated the small town and where I grew up enough as a child. I appreciate it now, and I'm very nostalgic for it now, but I really wanted, bigger cities, big lights, other things. I knew I wasn't going to be a cattle rancher.
And so you got your bachelor's degree?
I did. I actually have a bachelor's in theater arts and a bachelor's in journalism. That was to kind of get my dad off my back a little bit about the acting thing. Yeah, I have something to fall back on, Dad. Something to fall back on.
And so did you go for a graduate degree as well, or did you say, I've got my degree, I've got the security if I need it, and then did you move off to the bigger city?
I did. I was not a school person. I wish I was. The rest of my family was very academic, and I'm not. I really wanted to just get through school as much as I could. And I was actually paying my own way through private college too, so I was always working 3 or 4 jobs.
Sure.
I didn't have a lot of time to do extracurriculars or just kind of that regular college fun that a lot of people do. I moved to Seattle for a brief stint after college right away, and then went to LA right after Seattle.
Is there a nice size market for film and theater in Seattle?
There was. In the 90s, they were kind of filming, you know, Sleepless in Seattle and a lot of those kind of shows. Most of that has since moved to Vancouver. Canada kind of came in, you know, the rates were lower back then, so they lost most of their film production to Vancouver. But when I was in school in the 90s, there was still a little bit there, so I thought I'd stop off.
Talk to me a little bit about your experience in LA, because I know that most people who are not born in LA or New York, they realize they want to be a dancer, singer, they can't wait to jump ship, and right?
I loved it. I still miss LA. I still think of LA as home. I haven't lived there for 5 years now, and I still get homesick for it. There's just such an energy of people. I mean, it's such a, you know, creative based mentality and people, and I think a lot of the stereotypes you hear about LA are from people that have never lived there or have just visited. I always found it to be incredibly supportive, and you know, there's a lot of like-minded people, and it's competitive. I mean, it is. It's very hard. It's very expensive. It's very competitive.
Would you use, so you're using the word competitive. A lot of people think more at cutthroat.
Right. And I don't know if I'd call it so much, you know, cutthroat. It's, you know, but it is, you know, if you're not at the top of your game, and if you're not willing to work as hard as you can possibly work, you probably would feel like it's a little cutthroat, because they're not really going to cut you any slack or give you any breaks. You know, you have to be... No excuses. Right. You know, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, think they're going to be the one that's going to move there and just make it on. Yeah, going to hop off the bus and here I am, and the industry, the industry would welcome me, and I've just got it. At their feet. Yeah, because everybody's told me I had it from my small town for my whole life, and it's just not like that, but it's a great city. I mean, it's one of my
want to ask you what brought you to Kansas City, but you just mentioned, you know, everybody tells you that you're the it. Right. That you've got that it thing from your small town. In the industry, they say that you should conquer your local market first and then try to move to a larger city. Is that what you tried to do, or did you?
I just went. I had no clue. I went in a car with no air conditioning, with a couple grand in my pocket. I didn't know a soul. When I went in LA, I just drove the coast from, you know, I think I decided finally 6 weeks out from actually getting in the car and driving down. I was amazed the car even made it to Los Angeles. Oh, it was horrible. But so I didn't know anyone. But looking back, I don't, it's a balance, because, you know, youth is so valued there, and the earlier you can get out there and the earlier you can start, I do think that is valuable. I wouldn't wait, you know, 10 years to conquer your local market before going, but, you know, had I had a demo reel already, and, you know, a few more credits, you know, especially in a market like Kansas City, where you can get some really nice, you know, credits, some national commercials and some great indie films, and have some really good looking footage, that may have been very, very valuable, and
but it was an adventure.
Yeah, it was a great adventure. Yeah, oh my goodness.
And you earned your stripes.
Oh, the first 6 months. Oh my goodness.
And so from LA, you moved to Kansas City 5 years ago. What brought you?
My husband was actually born and raised in Kansas City, and when we decided that we wanted to have a family, I didn't want to be raising children in LA. I just thought that was kind of a bit much, and I wanted to be able to do a home with a yard and that sort of thing. So we made the decision to come here and have children and raise them here, and kind of put the LA part of the career on hold. And it's not that we may never ever go back, but kind of just have to make that choice whether or not I wanted to raise kids out there.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit later about having a family and pursuing. Now, acting and entertaining, is that the only thing that you do besides being a mom?
Yeah,
and a mom to be.
Yeah, and a mom to be.
Congratulations, of course.
Second and final. We're done. But yeah, that is all I've ever wanted to do. That is all I ever have done, other than, you know, I'm an excellent bartender from all those years of, that's a true stereotype, actors being bartenders in LA. But yeah, I just do the acting, entertaining. I work from home and then travel as I need to and outsource. I'm really, really blessed that I have the flexibility to do both with that career.
Okay, so you met your husband in LA.
I actually met my husband in Italy.
Oh,
it's a chance encounter. Yeah, it was completely random. We actually were both bumming around Europe one summer and met, and didn't actually start dating for about 2.5 years. We reconnected after a while, and then he convinced me to to come out here and give it a try.
Of course, it's got to be love if you're leaving LA.
I know. He works in sales, so he's very convincing. He's very good at his job.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your accomplishments. You are a member of SAG-AFTRA.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about what that is.
Sure, the new SAG-AFTRA that we're still kind of figuring out. In the past, there was two unions, AFTRA, which was the television union, and SAG, which was the film union. Just this year, in March, they actually merged. So now we just have one entertainment union. I formerly belonged to both, so I was automatically a member of the new union. The union is what sets our wages for us. It's where we get our health care. It's kind of the overriding organization that watches out for all of us, mandates conditions on set for us. I mean, down to things like having a hanging rack for your clothes, and
sure.
Having food breaks when you need them, and that sort of thing.
And so the union ensures the details
correct
are beneficial to the talent.
Correct. It was originally designed to protect the talent from the studio system, the old studio system that used to kind of get to say what you could do and when you could do it, and dictate pretty much everything. You used to sign to a studio back in the 30s and 40s, and they were in control of every aspect of your career. The talent really had no say. So the unions were formed to protect the talent.
Cool. I'll say, how easy is it to get into a union?
It's more difficult now, and they still are working out all the kinks with this new one union. But it used to be AFTRA had an open door policy, so anyone could sign up for AFTRA just if they wanted to join it. Okay. SAG has always been a little trickier. There was 3 or 4 different ways that you could get into SAG. It was a little trickier. Of course, there's always people that figured out ways kind of around the system to get in. It wasn't really a benefit, and I still don't know that it is. It's not really a huge benefit to be in the union too early in your career, because once you're in, you're barred from doing non-union work. Wow. So, depending on the market that you're in and your level of experience, you're suddenly competing against people who have a lot more union credits than you. Right. So I know I always try and tell young actors, I'm like, don't, wait till the opportunity presents itself. It'll present itself at the right time.
And a lot of young actors would want to immediately go union because it's pretty prestigious.
Yes, right? And I think they think that it'll instantly, catapult, and I think, I don't know what the numbers are with the new merged union, but when it was just SAG and AFTRA, it was something like 130,000 members in SAG, and only the top 5% make more than about $8,000 a year from acting.
Wow. Which
is a pretty scary statistic. So I'm not sure what the new numbers are since we merged. But
okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. And when we get back, we'll go ahead and continue with the films that you've been in and the films that you've produced and directed yourself, okay?
Excellent.
Stay with us. We will be right back.
Hi, my name is Sean Darrett, and I work for the Counseling Advising Center as the interim director. I have been involved in music since I was 9. As a kid, I went to a small church in Leavenworth, Kansas, and we had a children's choir, and every child in the church was encouraged to be involved in the choir. My influences would be primarily gospel, though I've had a lot of people tell me that I remind them of Sam Cooke, a few other R&B singers. Oh gosh, off the top of my head, I can't remember all of them, but maybe Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross, people like that. But I would say my gospel influence would be like B.B. Winans and C.C. Winans. The music industry really suffered with the advent of things like Napster, places where you can download music for free. And so it's not a very lucrative field to actually just be an artist. Most people that are artists, even people that are really good at the national level, have a side gig. I would say anyone that's interested in getting involved in it, they have to be patient. It's really kind of being at the right place at the right time. I've had a lot of great opportunities where I've sung on the same stage with national Christian artists. I've opened for Christian artists. I've sung at the Stellar Award. But it all came about at being at the right place at the right time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
No one but you. No one but you can love me.
Thank you for staying with us. We are talking with actor, director, producer Meagan Flynn. Okay, before we went to the break, we were talking about union affiliation, and you're saying that the top 5% of the union, SAG-AFTRA,
Yes.
they are working.
They make most of the money.
They make most of the money.
99% of the money.
5%, 99%
Yes.
of the money. Sound familiar? No, okay. George Clooney
Yes.
is one of the 5% making the money, and you were in Up in the Air
Yes.
with George Clooney. Talk to me about that
Yes,
experience.
fantastic film. We loved it. Yep, Oscar nominated, Golden Globe winning film. I was extremely lucky. I actually got about 4.5 days on set with the crew, 3 of those with George, which was wonderful. Fantastic experience.
What made it wonderful? I mean, is it because you're so good looking?
Oh, well, that doesn't hurt. He is just so charismatic. He really is. It's not even, it's not even the raw sex appeal. He just really emotes charisma from across the room. You see why he is at the level he is.
Right.
Yes, and he's just delightful. I mean, just very kind, very respectful. Really, you could see he went out of his way to, treat everyone with courtesy, talking to the extras and respectful of all the crew, and you could see that people want to work with this person.
What did you learn? I mean, is this the biggest film that you've worked on to date? Industry film, let's say?
It's the biggest role that I've had in the biggest film. So I did a lot of, when you first move to LA, you always do a lot of extra work just to survive. So I'd been on a lot of large sets before and film sets before, but never in that capacity as an actual, speaking role. So yes, definitely the biggest.
What were you able to take away from it?
Just, I think, watching George and then Jason Reitman, watching them work, the rapport and the level of respect that they had for one another is something that, as an indie filmmaker, that I really, really found valuable. And just
you pull that into your own experience as a director and producer as well.
I try to. Just knowing how George made me feel just as valuable as an Anna Kendrick or a Vera Farmiga, the leads. Right. He really, really made you feel like a valuable, professional and part of the team, and very sweet, and thanked you for your work. And I would love to have people on my sets feel that same way, that they're valued and respected. And
excellent. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about some of your independent films. I'm going to talk about my favorite one. Okay. And now that you're dead, that was directed by Patrick Ray.
Patrick Ray, who I adore.
Yes, of course.
Yes, one of the top filmmakers in Kansas City, absolutely, hands down.
Right.
That was so much fun. That was my first experience meeting Patrick. The gal that plays the lead, Jen Plaz, Patrick, she had already been cast, and Patrick was looking for a brunette. And she said, I know this girl, because I was brunette at the time. She said, I know this girl, you got to meet her, see if she's what you want. And Patrick hired me, and we've become great friends since. But it was so fun, and he is very much that way on his film sets. He treats
everyone. What role
did
you play?
I played Meredith, who is a vampire. I'm actually the mistress of the lead male character. It was great. I think we shot that like on a March night in Lawrence. I think it was about 20 degrees, and
wow.
My wardrobe is lingerie and a sheet. So Patrick joked, he's like, I don't know if you're gonna want to work with me again after this experience. But he's great. I mean, I can't wait to work with him again. I always love to work with him.
Now That You're Dead is my favorite. You can't choose the same one. What would you say is your favorite film that you've directed, acted in, but one of your independent films?
Sure. Well, I think acting, Up in the Air is hands down the winner on that. As far as directing, I actually am really excited. We just shot a short film on August 4th that is in post-production, that I directed and wrote and produced. And I just felt like I had a great crew, and it's a fun, speaking of twists, there's twists, so
nice.
It's my first time doing that kind of twist at the end. It just felt like such a smooth day. I had an amazing executive producer, Linda Wiedmeyer, who just made everything so smooth, and it was the least stressed I think I've ever felt about a shoot.
Letting go of the reins and letting someone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was very collaborative. My DP, Ty Jones, who is a fantastic filmmaker, director, you know, in town as well, he was so great about, you know, let's try this, and, you know, bringing his input in, and we had, you know, a couple of great actresses. So I'm excited. This is the one that I've been most excited about.
And you'd say, with relinquishing some of the control, that you've had a fuller experience. Would you say that's true?
Yes, which is funny. I think sometimes you think when you do everything, you know, that you're going to experience everything, but I think I'm learning where my strengths are and where my weaknesses are, and, you know,
And
it's
you
like,
actually
okay.
get to experience more when you don't overwhelm yourself.
Yes, like you can
everything.
focus just on one piece of it.
So let's move right on and talk about movies, indie versus industry, TV, commercials, for actors who are interested. What is the difference? Let's talk about technique, audition techniques.
Sure. Sure. Well, I think one of the nice things about being an up-and-coming actor in Kansas City is you do get to do everything. You know, I mean, I have friends in LA that, you know, have hit it big with commercials but can't seem to get into film, or, you know, they have all these guest star roles or co-star roles on TV, but they haven't had a lot of success in national commercials. And I think the great thing about Kansas City is you can do it all. You can try voiceover, you can try commercials. Classes, I always recommend training, you know, get a commercial audition class. There's some of those in town. Take a voiceover class if you want to compete in that. You know, ongoing scene study, of course, is always going to make you a better actor.
Kansas City industry as competitive? Is it?
It's, and I, you know, as someone coming from the outside that didn't know anything about it, I think Kansas City's very competitive, and there's a lot of really great talent, particularly in voiceover. If you're wanting to become a voiceover artist, there is some top level, you know, nationally recognized voiceover talent here in Kansas City. So I think, yeah, I think your game needs to be as good here as anywhere.
Okay, and so I know that you are the vice president of Kansas City.
New vice president.
Yay! That's pretty awesome. How long have you been in the position then?
We actually haven't even been. We will have our, you know, our installation ceremony September 13th for the new incoming officers and the new board members.
But you were on the board before becoming vice president.
I've been involved with the organization a couple of years,
and by the way, we were talking about Kansas City Women in Film and Television.
Yes.
Casey Wift.
Yes.
And you will be.
Yes, we'll be doing vice president and continuing on the board as well. So fantastic organization that's designed to support and promote and help female filmmakers network and get their work accomplished and out there. And it's not just for women too. We have plenty of male members. I know sometimes the guys get a little scared off by that, but we actually have plenty of male members.
And you
as
have
well.
one thing that you do to make sure that these opportunities are available to up-and-comers, people who are interested in acting but they may not know what to do. You offer networking meetings?
We do. We do. We have once a month. It's the second Thursday of every month. It's Greenland and the Crossroads usually. And it's networking meetings, mixers. We will have seminars. We've had, you know, our 2 seminars ago, we had some local actresses come in and talk about auditioning etiquette. Our last seminar, we had Sean Edwards and Russ Simmons, who are 2 big local film critics, come in and show us trailers and kind of tell us, you know, the aspects of their job and what they do. So very informational. It's a great place to meet people, to just swap ideas, to, you know, if you're a director looking for a screenwriter, or you're, you know, a screenwriter looking for a producer, that's a place that you can connect and kind of make those connections and find.
Right, and also Casey Wift has a relationship with other organizations, like the IFC, who they've been on our show here.
Yes, another great organization, the IFC, Casey Screenwriters. We have a lot of members that are members of multiple, you know, they'll be a member of the Film Commission and the Casey Screenwriters and the IFC, so it's not, you know, none of them are exclusive. We're all very, very friendly with each other.
Right, and that's the way that the local industry is sustained. So in one breath, it's very competitive, but then on the other hand, it's very supportive, and if I need information, people
very
are
collaborative.
There.
Kansas City's very, I mean, a lot of the short films and web series I've done, I would not have been able to do in Los Angeles as a single producer, you know, because there just would have been too many limitations and restrictions on that. So Kansas City on the whole is very collaborative.
Okay, so I watched, you were having Etiquette of Impotence,
Yes.
which is one of your current films.
Yes, it's currently.
Tell me a little bit about that.
That was kind of experiment. I'm still really finding my voice as a director. I know we had talked about like Patrick really knows his
Right,
voice, you
right.
know, and as a director, that's something that I'm really trying to find and kind of see where I fit and what I enjoy directing and the genres. So I've been trying this last year and a half to do a little bit of everything. And Impotence was kind of my little John Hughes tribute. It's a 7-minute piece that's just basically a monologue of one female character in an awkward situation.
In an awkward situation
Yes.
with a man who is not performing.
The man who is not performing. It is actually based on a true story that my sister told me one time, which is very fun. We laugh about that.
Oh goodness, someone else's true
Yeah,
story.
it's somebody else's true story, combined with kind of a funny dating experience
Sure.
I had too. But I wanted to just see, you know, kind of stylized, a lot of the fast jump cuts. It was kind of that Ferris Bueller opening monologue was kind of what I wanted to see if we could do. And it was a lot of fun. And Meg Sarrick's the actress, and it is fabulous. She's so talented at comedy, and she's actually the lead in Nail Biter, a local feature as
yes.
well. So
Patrick Ray.
Yeah, she can handle anything, drama, comedy. So it was a lot of fun, and it was fun just to work on a one-day shoot, you know, kind of no pressure. And
Well, one thing I did when I was researching that film, I came across what's it called? A trailer for a film festival that it was in.
sure, yes.
And one of the other films, Wonder Woman, The Untold Stories of American Superheroines, they had a quote in that trailer that said, "What are the consequences for women when they are strong and the central actors on their own lives?" And that was something
great quote.
yeah, and I thought of you because I know that you and we had talked before about finding yourself.
Yes.
Professionally, what colors to wear to auditions,
Right.
what color your hair has to be in order to, because you're a natural blonde.
I am.
And then you had to become a brunette to get more work.
Yes, I was a brunette for many years, and I started working a lot more as a brunette, which is interesting. And then recently have kind of let it grow out and kind of go back to more its natural. I'm dark blonde naturally. When I lived in California, I was a bleach blonde, and I got called in a lot more in California as a bleach blonde.
But not here.
Not here, which is funny because I have very good friends here who are, you know, fabulous, gorgeous blondes who work all the time, and it must just, I don't know, it's funny how people perceive you, I guess, and how your look matches your personality. I'm hoping to continue working as a blonde now.
And so my question is, and real quick because we're going to wrap up in a few seconds, but how is the industry different for women in that regard, but how does she find her way? How does she?
I think that we just, as women, you know, in with any industry, I don't think film's any different being, you know, an attorney, a doctor. I think we just have more to balance, period, you know, as especially as wives and mothers and professional women. So I think it's more just finding that balance and finding where your creativity can fit into the rest of your life. And there's a lot of women that do a great job. I'm still learning how to do all that. But I think we're just under a little bit more scrutiny for that, and we have a little bit more on our plates to figure out. But it is possible. I've seen lots of women doing it.
And with organizations like KC Wit,
Yes.
women do have that support. Meagan, we're going to have to wrap up right now, but I want to thank you again for joining us, and you have been quite a delight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lonita. It was great to be here.
Head on down to the Plaza Art Fair. It is a Kansas City tradition. It will be happening September 20th through September 22nd. It's, you know, where we bring artists from all over the country. They convene in our Plaza area, and they come to see and be seen. My name's Lonita Cook, and this has been The Artist Tree. Stay art active, and we'll see you next time.